Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked around at your life and thought, is this it? Ever felt like you're just playing a role, going through the motions, but deep down, there's another version of you that is just waiting to be uncovered? Maybe you've spent years or even decades building a life that looks good on paper, a steady career, a family, a routine, but something inside whispers that something isn't quite right. If that sounds familiar, I don't think you're alone, and you're definitely not going crazy. Over the past year, I've been diving deep into some of these questions in midlife through conversations, books, personal experiences, and most importantly, through hosting my podcast, Life's Second Act. I've explored what it really means to transition in midlife. Now, look, I'm no expert. I'm just a regular guy navigating life with all of its twists and turns. But through the podcast and these conversations, I feel I've started to gain a much better insight into some of these topics that can feel overwhelming. Things like burnout or identity shifts. And in this video, I'm going to share one of those themes that come up again and again when people start to go through this journey of becoming their true selves, because midlife isn't a crisis. We know that. We need to think of it of a second chance, a second act. And if you've been feeling that pull towards something deeper, more real, this is for you. So what does it mean to be your true self? It's a phrase, isn't it, that we throw around all the time. Just be yourself. But most of us have no idea what that really looks like. I think being your true self means living in alignment with your values, your desires, and your purpose. Not maybe the expectations of society or family, or even what your younger self placed upon you. It's about stripping away the masks, the conditioning, and the stories that we tell ourselves about who we are, who we should be. And nowhere is this journey more profound than in midlife, of course, the time when we start questioning things like, am I living the life I truly want? Or am I just following the script I was handed? So why is it so important? Well, midlife is often labelled as a crisis, but in reality, of course, it's far from that. It's a crossroads. Some psychologists talk about something called the individuation process, a term Carl Jung used to describe the shift from living to meet external expectations to integrating all the parts of who we really are. We start realising we've spent years, sometimes decades, living in ways that don't actually fit with us anymore. And when we ignore this, we feel stuck, we feel drained, and we may wake up one day wondering, where's the time gone? But when we do lean into who we really are, life can get lighter, more meaningful. Studies even show that people who live authentically experience less stress, less depression, and greater overall life satisfaction. But if being our true selves is so fulfilling, why is it so hard? So let's think about the challenges. Why don't we live authentically? There are a few big reasons why we struggle to step into who we really are. I think the first is conditioning, the stories we've absorbed. From the moment we were born, we're handed a rule book for life. Get a good job, be responsible, don't be selfish, and success looks like this. By the time we hit midlife, those voices are so ingrained that we don't even question them. The second, the fear of judgment, the weight of expectations. By now we've built identities, careers, families, reputations. Changing now? That's terrifying. What will people think? What if I disappoint my family? What if I fail? This fear keeps us locked in place, even when we know we're meant for something different. Next is comfort zones, the illusion of security. Even when life feels unfulfilling, it's predictable, and predictability feels safe. We tell ourselves, don't we, things like, I'll just stick it out a little longer. Maybe this is just how life is. It's too late to change. But here's the truth. Comfort isn't the same as fulfillment. So how do we break free? How do we start living in alignment with our true selves? Now, the good news is, I think, you don't have to blow up your life to make a change. You just need to take small, intentional steps. Here's where to start, I think. This is from some of the conversations that I've had on the podcast. Listen to your inner voice, not just the noise around you. Notice what excites you, what drains you. Some say about keeping a journal. Write down when you feel most alive and when you feel most stuck. Next, I think, is let go of roles that no longer fit. Maybe you've been the responsible one, the achiever, or the caregiver for years. Ask yourself, is this still me? It's okay to evolve. You don't have to be who you were 10 years ago. Next, reconnect with what you loved before the world told you who to be. What did you love as a kid? Writing, painting, being outdoors? Reintroduce those passions, even in small ways. Next, set boundaries. Protect your energy. Every yes to something misaligned is a no to your true self. Start small. Say no to one thing this week that doesn't serve you. And finally, take tiny risks in the direction of your true self. Want to change careers? Take a class. Want to express yourself more? Make one bold choice. Want deeper connections? Have one honest conversation with someone you know and trust. It's not about one big leap, it's about micro movements of courage. So let's see midlife as a new beginning, as a catalyst for moving into our second act. Most, if not all of my guests have seen it as a catalyst for something new. It's the time when we stop asking, what does the world want from me? And start asking, what do I want from the world and from the life that I have? Yep, I think stepping into your true self can be scary, but do you know what I think is a little scarier, which I'm working through? Waking up one day and realizing that you've never tried. So start small, one small step, one choice, one moment of truth at a time. Because I think the most powerful thing you and I can do is to be you, to be me. So if this resonates with you, why not listen to one of the podcast conversations? You can obviously watch on YouTube, but it's just audio. Listen on Spotify, Apple or Amazon Music and let me know your thoughts. What do you think being authentic really means? Are you being authentic? Are you being true to yourself? How do you work through it yourself? Until next time, take care and goodbye.